And get started. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Actually, it's afternoon now. I'm Nimrata, the Regional Office Administrator here in the North, and I helped put this training together with Marie because I had the pleasure of meeting her at Sales Convention, and since then I've kind of just been following what she does on social media, and she is phenomenal. And she works out of our Lake Oswego office down in the Central region. And thank you so much, Marie, for giving us your time today and sharing all of your great knowledge. I'll give you, a couple minutes to kind of introduce yourself, tell everyone about you, and then we'll roll right into what we're here for today.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me. I hope that this provides value for you guys and that you get something from it. I have been in real estate 14 years this month, actually, so just about to hit that anniversary. I've been with Berkshire Hathaway, well, from the beginning of Berkshire Hathaway, but Prudential for going on 11 years. My business is pretty much all past clients referrals, so very sphere-based. But I do use social media to stay connected, kind of be, part of the community and, create a tribe, I guess, in that sense. So marketing listings, we'll kind of get into that, but it's definitely been a huge piece of my business. I think a lot of my referrals have come from social media and, it's really, really helped me just, kind of that snowball effect over the years. And the more you do it, the more you get out of it. So it's been a huge piece of my business. Like she said, I'm in the Lake Oswego office in the Portland area. And yeah, I have 3 boys under the age of 10, and it's been a busy few months, but I took to social media probably even more so when all of this happened and really tried to stay in front of people that way. Everyone, when COVID, of course, in March, it was like, I think everybody was on social media 24/7. So, it really, I kind of dove into it even deeper than I had been doing over the last handful of years. And it really helped me stay connected with people. And actually, I have a listing that I'm listing tomorrow that came off of a group page I started during COVID on Facebook. So we can get into a little bit more of that as we go through this. But it's been great during this time to be able to use it even more so than ever.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so like we said in the prior marketing materials, this is going to be more of an interview style where we're just going to go through some talking points that Marie and I came up with. And then at the end, we'll do a Q&A through the chat if you have any specific questions, and we'll be done in about an hour. So let's go ahead and get started. Give me 1 second here. I don't like how this thing floats around everywhere. All right. Okay, so today we're gonna mainly focus on Facebook and Instagram, but really a lot of it is on Facebook because the majority of our consumers are on Facebook. So our first question is going to be personal versus business. What would Marie do? So I'll let Marie take over.
Okay, so, Facebook, so Facebook's where I was first, obviously. I've gotten most of my business referrals, and I feel like I've just always done a better job on Facebook. I've been doing Instagram for a handful of years, but really only probably the last 2 years have gotten a little bit more ingrained there. That took a little bit longer for me because I was so used to Facebook. But, on Facebook, I had the personal page first, started a business page. I'm a big believer of keeping them, separate. That's not to say I don't post anything personal on my business page and vice versa, but I have just always thought for my sphere, like if they want to follow me in more of a business mode, they can follow my business page. And so I've directed most of my business stuff on my business page. Now, if you only have one, I'm not saying it's wrong to have one. There are a lot of very successful agents that only have one. But just for me personally, I have personal and I have business. Now on Instagram, I actually only have one. I started it as a personal page, and a couple years in, I was like, I need to start a business page. And a couple of people advised me, like, at this point, if you start a business page, you're starting from scratch. So my plan was to convert my personal to business and then eventually start a personal page. So I did that. I made my personal page public, and then I never created a separate one because I've just felt like one has been enough there for me. So I have both on Facebook. I have one on Instagram.
Okay, cool, awesome. Next question. Okay, well, let me click through here. Give me one sec. Okay.
And while she's clicking on that, I think just to follow up a little bit on that personal versus business. Again, I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I think that if you're using a business page, sprinkle a little personal in, because people want to know you. If they're going to work with you, they want to know you. I mean, that's what this whole social media thing is about, is, you know, allowing people to see the real you. And so if it's a strictly business page, I still sprinkle a little personal in. And then on my personal page, I probably once or twice a month, I'm sprinkling a little of business in, and kind of strategically what I'm putting on my personal page business-wise. I'm not putting everything. I'm not really putting just listeds. I'm just doing a couple things here and there on it.
Okay, our next question is going to be, what kind of content should I be posting?
You know, I think it's important to do a mix of everything. You know, you hear the term like content stack, and you know, I just started during this whole COVID thing, doing a weekly kind of content planner, which I've never done that before. Normally for me, it was like, all right, what new listing do I have this week? What's on my mind today? And I would just kind of go for it. Now I'm actually trying to be a little bit more strategic and a little bit more consistent. And so I have a weekly just sheet I print out. On Sunday, I'm typically kind of writing out my goals for what I'm going to post each day of the week. And you know, it's very loose. It changes. Today, actually, I haven't posted anything yet except a couple stories. So I'm a little bit behind today. But, you know, if something pops up maybe that I think is more important on a Tuesday, then maybe I'll flip-flop Tuesday and Wednesdays and just kind of roll with that. But, you know, content stacking, I think it's important to show, again, the real you. People want to see who you are, and you know, if they like you and trust you, they're going to use you. So I think you have to, even if you're just strictly doing business, I think you need to put in some real stuff about you, your family, things you like, hobbies, things you're passionate about, and then also being a knowledge broker. I mean, obviously, you know, you want people to know you're in real estate without throwing it in their face all of the time. But maybe, you know, being a knowledge broker is social proof, evidence of success, you know, what you're selling, what you're listing, market stats. And then I think also just hyper local content in terms of your community. You know, are you ingrained in a certain community, and can you showcase businesses? Can you kind of be that community mayor for your community? Can you do contests based in your community? I mean, there's so many different community things we can do, and we'll talk about that a little further along too. But I think it's a mix of the real you and you as a human, educating people, being a knowledge broker, market stats, and then showcasing your community. You know, people want to use real estate brokers that know the area. So, you know, posting things about your favorite coffee shop, your favorite restaurant, events that are buzzworthy in your community, any of that stuff is great content.
So aside from your community content, where do you look for your content? Is it just stuff that you kind of think up, or are you going to specific places to find them?
You know, it's a little bit of everything, to be honest. I don't really have, you know, a place I go. I mean, in terms of, you know, the knowledge broker stuff and the market stats, I mean, I pull stats from the RMLS, of course. Keeping Current Matters has been great during the last 90 days with great content that we can share. I know I see you guys sharing that on the Facebook page for Berkshire Hathaway specifically. So all of you agents, you could be sharing those posts. That's a very easy share, and some of those are great. I mean, I put one of those in my stories today that was just about the history of interest rates. And I think I saw somebody post it, Federal Way, I believe, posted it this morning too. So, you know, that stuff is a very easy share, great for stories, you know. And then in terms of just like community content and what's going on in the community, I follow a lot of local businesses. I follow some of the city pages, a lot of the groups around town. I created a group that we can talk more about as we get further down. So I'm constantly just kind of repurposing some of that content and sharing what other people are posting. And then I'm trying to think of the other question you asked me. I'm so sorry.
You create your own content?
Yes, and then, you know, I do try to create my own stuff. So obviously I'll share. I think that, you know, as brokers, and especially during this time, we are kind of positioned to do a lot of good. And so I do share other business posts and highlights that they're posting to try to help, you know, spotlight them. And then in terms of my own stuff with listings, I do share obviously listing videos. I do my own walkthrough videos. I do a lot of video. We'll get into video as well. But yes, I am creating my own, but I'm also repurposing some stuff that's already floating out there with the more community stuff and some of those keeping current matters posts or articles that I see that I'm finding online about real estate.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Okay. So you kind of touched on this, that you posted 2 stories today. Not quite sure how familiar our audience is with it. So do you want to kind of speak on that a little bit about the story and different ways that you can get engagement through it?
Yeah, sure. And okay, so this kind of gets to an Instagram versus Facebook thing a little bit too. So just to kind of start there, Facebook has stories. I'm sure you all know that. But I have tried posting stories on my business page. They never get a ton of traction or views. I did that off and on for a few months, kind of went away from that, and then started posting a little bit of real estate mixed into my personal page stories, mixed in with personal stuff. But I mainly do most of my stories on Instagram. I think yesterday I posted 9. My goal is about 150 a month. So, you know, every day is a little different. Again, yesterday I did 9. Today I've only done 2. I have a couple of things I'll post in stories later today as I'm out and about. But, you know, in terms of polls, I only probably been doing polls maybe once a week. Starting to try to do a little bit more. On Mondays, I do an Ask Marie Monday where people can put in any real estate questions they have. So it's not really a poll, but it is a way to create engagement. And then yesterday I had a home go pending that my clients were buying their first investment property. So I just did a quick poll I shared the post I did with the pending, did a quick poll like, you know, is anyone thinking about buying an investment property? It was a yes, no. But I mean, you can just do so many things. What's your favorite restaurant around town? What are you most excited to, you know, what's your favorite coffee shop? Like, what coffee drink are you most excited to get? Do you prefer coffee or tea? I mean, you can really do anything, and it doesn't have to be real estate related. You know, a couple weeks ago, I did one that was, are you in your dream home? Are you living in your dream home? And that one got a ton of traction. And like right there, for the 30 people that said no, it opened just communication for me to be able to reach out in a private message and just, you know, kind of go back and forth with them about why. And then I followed up that question with, if you're not in your dream home, what would you add to your home that would make it closer to your dream home? So I got a lot of people saying, you know, a bigger backyard, a second office, you know, lots of that. So it just really creates that, you know, open communication between people. My mistake on that one, I didn't think it was going to be that successful, and I was out of town, and so I dropped the ball with really engaging as much as I should have. So I'm going to probably rerun that in the next couple of weeks because it really got a ton of conversation going. So I will say, if you do those, make sure you're available to really answer and communicate with them. Another really easy one that was really successful for me when I've done it in the past was if I'm at an inspection, I'll post, you know, in stories that I'm at an inspection, I'm going to be here for 3 hours, you know, ask me any questions while I'm here and I'll answer them. And so that was kind of a fun thing. People were asking me all kinds of random questions, some real estate related, some not. And then you can share those in your story so people can see those questions and answers, or you can keep those private. So just a fun way to get some engagement, build likes, build community. And that's mainly through Instagram stories where I found that most successful.
Okay. I think the next one, oh, perfect. Okay, so this is something that I don't know much about, but this was Marie's idea. So listing post contest, I'm going to let her speak a little bit about that, the different ways you can run your contest and exactly what that entails and what it looks like.
Yeah, so I mainly do this on Facebook. I know we're bouncing around a lot from Instagram to Facebook, but for me, my Facebook page, I think you have to start with on Facebook, like, what is your goal with your Facebook page? Is it to keep your presence with your sphere? Is it to get new clients? Is it to build likes and followers? I mean, I think you have to sit down before, if you haven't started one, or even if you have, and kind of evaluate, what is the purpose of your page? And for a lot of people, who is your ideal client? And then try to make most of your post, around that, because that's how you're going to build your tribe, and your tribe, your vibe attracts your tribe. And so, I think there's a lot to say about that. It creates trust, it builds a brand. But with listing posts, so every time I have a new listing, I do post typically the video that I have professionally done for each listing. And sometimes if the photos are just amazing, I'll do the photos instead. But I always do a little description, just listed, blah, blah, blah. And then share this post and be entered to win a $25 gift card to blah, blah, blah. And I'll try to pick a local business that's super close to the listing. And then that helps kind of trigger that organic reach, because the more it gets shared, the more Facebook is going to put it out there, the more engagement it's going to get. And then occasionally I'll follow that up with a boost. But I normally try to see how it's doing organically before I boost anything. So, that's been really successful with listing posts and just, again, getting it out there in front of people. I've had some that have gotten, 3,000 views before I've ever boosted it. So it can take off. And, especially for sellers that are sharing it and then their friends are sharing it, again, it just helps get that listing out there. It helps you get out there. I don't know if this is coming up later, but just contest based. In the beginning of, COVID, I did, I think 3 or 4 different ones where it was like I honored teachers and then nurses and then local businesses. And I did like a tag your favorite, teacher, tag your favorite local business, tag your favorite nurse and doctor. And then, at the end of a few day period, I would run a contest, and that winner of the person that got tagged, so the nurse, the doctor, the teacher, they would get $100 gift card to wherever they wanted. But that really took off, and I did that on Instagram and on Facebook. And it was just a way to give back in a time where, no one really knew it was going to go on. This was like mid-March. And it also got my page in front of a lot of people. And so it really ended up being a win-win. But there's so much you can do with contests, especially now as businesses are reopening and restaurants. I don't know where you guys are exactly up there, but I mean, what restaurant are you most excited to go back to? Post in the comments, and then I'll draw a winner on Friday, and you'll get a gift card to that restaurant that you tagged. And so it helps build community, helps showcase other businesses, and it puts your name out there as well. So I think there's a lot of opportunity right now for these little contests, and it doesn't have to be huge gift cards. You could do $20, you could do $50, you could do $100. I do a 12-day of Christmas thing, the 12 days leading up to Christmas every year, and every day is a different contest. But some of those I'll literally do a $10 gift card, where others it's $200. So again, you don't have to start with a huge amount, but just starting somewhere, and it really helps kind of boost your page and get momentum on your page going.
So when you draw your winner, do you use a program for that? How are you doing that?
I'm a little old school with that. I write them all out and I literally draw them. Sometimes, like my Christmas one, I write them all out because it's a 12-day thing. So I'm entering I do a daily drawing, and then I do a drawing at the end of on Christmas. I have my kids draw it in front of our Christmas tree every year. It's kind of funny. But I write them all out. I put them in a little bowl and we draw. So I know there are programs that sort and draw, but I'm old school. And sometimes I'll try to film it even if it's not my kids. I mean, I've run a couple contests with other businesses and we've done the drawings live. And so it just creates more of a show and tell when you're pulling a name out of a bag or a hat or a bowl or whatever you're going to use.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that seems easier than trying to find a program. That's literally what I was asking. Let's see. Okay, so um, as you guys can see, there's a couple of graphs on the screen. This is just something that I found online that shows when people are most active across the two social sites. But Marie, what have you found? What are the best times that, for you to post where you're getting the most engagement?
Yeah, I loved seeing this post that you found because I didn't really know much of this. Personally, I have seen that, and again, the last 3 months, the normal has kind of gone out the window because people are on social media so much more. But prior to that, I was feeling like if I could post between 6 a.m. and 7:30 a.m., that just really got things momentum going early. Whereas if I posted towards the end of the day or late afternoon, sometimes the traction just didn't ever start. So for me, I would try to plan my posts sometimes the night before and schedule them to go out in the morning or just right when I got up, press post and get it out there. So for me, ideally in the morning is what I like. I have been trying to post something daily, which I've not done every day, but that's kind of my goal, is to post something daily. Some days I post 2 things, some days I post nothing. So it depends. If I'm in a day where I'm multi-posting, like tomorrow I have a couple new listings hitting, so I'll have to do a couple posts. I'll try to stagger those a little bit and do one really early and then one maybe early afternoon. Stories, I don't think that there's a right or wrong time. I mean, you can post a story at midnight, 2 a.m. It's there for 24 hours. So no matter when you post, it's going to stay in front of people. But yeah, I would say mornings have always been the best for me. Weekends, never so great. So if I have something really good to post, I'm going to save it for a morning of a weekday.
Yep, and it looks like that's the consensus. Sunday seems to be the worst day to post across both socials. So keep that in mind when you're posting your content. You said you schedule your posts. What are you using for that?
I'm just using Facebook. Instagram, I honestly don't know how to schedule them. Maybe there's a way that I haven't found, but I have not figured that out on Instagram. So on Facebook, when you're creating a post, and this just for business pages, I believe, I don't think you can do this on personal pages, but on business pages, you can actually save drafts, schedule posts, and you can schedule them for an hour later, you can schedule them days later. So there's a lot of flexibility with business pages to be able to schedule. And it's pretty easy in terms of just a calendar pops up, you pick a date and a time, and then it goes live without you having to ever do anything. So that is, that's a great way to do it. Also, I mean, trust me, I have days where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to post about. So I have kind of found with myself that if there's a day I'm on a roll and like content is flowing, I will pre-type up a few posts and then save those for a rainy day when I'm not feeling like posting, so that I have something in my back pocket. Again, I'm a little strategic on what I post on the weekends in terms of just not making them the best post. Like maybe my weekend post is a pending post or something that's, not as engaging. But if I have a great video that I have that I want to get out there, like I'm going to save that for a morning on a weekday.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, I think you kind of have already been speaking on this, but how can you get more interaction on your pages, whether it be Instagram or Facebook?
Yeah, again, Instagram stories, great for questions, answers. Both, I think, are great for contests, which we talked about. One thing that we haven't talked about that, I hear a lot of agents in my office just saying, like, I don't like social media. Like, I'm not good at it. I don't like it. I don't like video, and that's fine. We'll touch on that a little bit later. But whether you like it or don't like it, it's here. People are looking to hire trusted advisors on it all the time. So, I do think that at the very minimum, we can use it to listen. And this was something that was brought up at convention in multiple classes, and it was a great takeaway for me, even though I've been on it for so long and felt like I do a pretty good job with staying connected with people. But, one of the classes I was in, they said, even if you're never going to post a video on there, never going to post anything, like you can use it to listen to what your friends are posting, listen to what people are saying, comment on posts, message people. I mean, people are using these sites. I mean, I think Facebook has, I don't know if Instagram's past Facebook, maybe they have, but you know, there are so many people on there. But you can track people's life events. You can tell when people are having a bad day. I mean, just during quarantine, you know, I'd see posts of friends or clients that are just, they're having terrible days. And so, you know, I would see that, I would text them, I would drop something off on their porch, I would send them a private message. So you can use it in other ways than just constantly promoting yourself and pushing yourself out there. I mean, you can really use it for good, and I think to help people as well. So I would say listen to what people are posting, listen to what people are saying, you know, say happy birthday to people, send them a video, send them a text, you know, and again, I'm not always just sending them private messages. Like if I see that someone's having a bad day, or maybe they made a weird comment that, you know, makes me worry about them, like I'm going to call them or I'm going to send them a message. I'm going to see if I can help them. So, you know, again, whether you like it or not, you know, find a way to use it because it's here to stay.
I'm not sure if this is going to come up later, but since we're kind of on this posting topic and how to use it, how do you feel about more of like company branded content, where the agent is posting mostly company branded content versus more personal?
You know, I think you have to ask yourself like what you like to see on there. Like if I'm constantly seeing people just promoting ads and business stuff, like I'm gonna just skip right by them. So, you know, I think you have to mix in a little bit of that, but I'm very weary to do that because I think, again, it's social media. I mean, people are following you, especially on Instagram. They want to know you. They want to know what you're doing. And it's a weird concept, but it is reality. And especially the younger generations. I mean, it's how they're, you know, I think a lot of people feel like they know people from social media that they've never even met. And so you have to let people into your lives to some degree, and it is uncomfortable. And I'm still really cautious of like how much I put out there, especially with my kids and with what we're doing. And it still seems weird to be like, hey, watching a soccer game, like I should be working, but I'm putting that I'm watching a soccer game. So I think it's a fine line, but I do think if all you're doing is sharing listings and company posts, and like, you're going to lose followers. You're not going to keep people engaged. They want to know you as a person and as a human. So I think you have to mix everything in. You know, they want to know about you and they want to know who they're working with. And, you know, it's a weird concept, but it really, you can use social media to build relationships and build rapport. And it does create trust. So I would say, yes, post the company stuff, but I would not do that as your only post.
Awesome. I was hoping you would say that. Oh, skipped over one. Oh, okay. So you mentioned that your goal is to do about 150 story posts a month. So what is your suggestion for how often we should be posting regular posts throughout a week and then stories?
Yeah, and you know, okay, so to be totally transparent, I mean, that whole 150 thing just came out of COVID. I am one that never really follows a business plan. I just kind of go with whatever. And you know, it's worked, but when COVID started, I was like, I have to get a plan. Like I need a plan. So I did my content calendar. I started a 30-day action plan, and in my 30-day action plan, which 30 days for me was great. When I do a business plan, I have to think a year out. That kind of overwhelms me a little bit. So breaking it down month by month and day by day was super helpful for me. And so on there, it was like, you know, how many posts are you going to post? How many stories are you going to post? And so 150 was what I came up in March, and I did hit it the first 30 days. So I was like, I'm just going to keep rolling with the 150. So 150 stories. I try to go live once a week, whether it's live in a story or live on, you know, actual Facebook, just to stay in front of people and mess with the algorithm a little bit. And then regular post, my goal is to do one a day. And again, I've not consistently done one a day. I mean, you'll look at last week and I maybe did 2 posts the whole week. I felt like I struggled last week with everything going on in the world. Like, it seemed not relevant to be posting every day. So I'm trying to get back into that a little bit this week, but I was walking a fine line last week of just wanting to be sensitive to kind of everything that was going on and not just blast people with constant business posts. So last week I stepped back a little bit. This week I'm kind of getting my groove back and feel like, okay, you know, I've got to do it for business, for my clients, and whatnot. So I would say my goal is daily. Yours does not have to be daily, but whatever you do, be consistent. I mean, the other thing to think that it's hard to let go of this, but not every post is going to build traction. I mean, not everybody's going to like every post that you post, and that's fine. You know, I think just not taking that personally and just continue to post and post. And the more you do it, the more people are going to see it. I kind of found on my Facebook business page that like every other post was getting much better traction. And I have no idea if that's to do with the algorithm. So I do kind of try to, you know, do video, do photo, do live, and kind of mix that all up and you know, hope that that kind of gets things out there more. But yeah, I would just say be consistent. You just have to start somewhere and you have to be consistent.
What are you posting or what are you talking about when you do your lives?
Lately, it has been market updates. And, you know, in 2014, this is terrible, but I started doing monthly market updates, and this was pre many people doing video, and I was doing video ones, and I had someone hold my laptop and I would stand there and rattle off like off memory. And I mean, I messed up a million times, but trying to do these market update videos, and they would be like 3 or 4 minutes. I would try to incorporate like one of my favorite things in the area. I'd try to film them like on site somewhere, but you know, they were terrible. I mean, they're still on YouTube and they are horrible. But you know, that got me really comfortable doing that monthly in front of a camera. And I won't say comfortable because I still really don't love video, but I don't know if you ever get comfortable, but you definitely stop worrying what other people think at some point along the way. So, you know, it's been pretty much 6 years of me doing video. And I did kind of stop doing those market updates because I felt like they weren't getting the traction. I eventually went to doing them professionally and paying monthly to do them. And then, you know, it was kind of expensive, and I realized that people were looking at just lives or just me holding my phone up doing a market update just as much as they were watching my $300 ones that I was paying somebody to do. So now I've just kind of been going live for a minute and just doing, you know, especially during COVID, like how many homes went pending last week, how many have sold and I'm doing weeks at a time. So in the last week, what I've seen, and a great one is just lockbox activity. So Sentry Lock, I don't know if that's what you guys use up there, but just showing activity. And so I do just real quick showing activity, pending sales, new listings, solds in the week, and then try to give just a quick little like, here's what happened to my listings or my buyers in the last week. And that's it. So I've been doing that. I've done a couple lives just showcasing businesses and kind of what's going on in the area. But I mean, you can really do anything.
Okay, awesome. Let's see. Okay. This one is kind of a touchy subject, so I figured I'd ask you, is it okay to share promotional content where you're mostly selling yourself, selling the brand, it's all about real estate, and you're doing a lot of the boosted stuff?
Mm-hmm. You know, I think, again, it goes back to the question of like, what are you trying to get out of Facebook? Like, what's your purpose of it? Who are your followers? What are those followers want to see? I mean, there's a lot of agents in my area that do a ton of just self-promotion, and they're boosting ads and they're getting leads that way. I mean, my business is pretty much sphere and referral. And so that's not really what I'm necessarily on there for. I mean, I do post promotional things about myself. I have a bio video that I post. I have testimonial videos that I have clients do that I post. So there is definitely that like mixed in, if that's kind of the question you're asking. But, you know, I don't boost those because I'm not typically trying to get those out to people beyond my sphere and the people that already followed me. Occasionally I will boost to like people that like your page and their friends. Like that's an option on my business page when I'm boosting. So if it is I think like first time I ever posted my bio video, I did boost it to that, because I'm like, well, those are connected to people I know in a way. So that's a prime referral for me there. So, you know, in terms of just random promotional content and boosting that out as like an ad, I don't necessarily do that, but I've seen that work great for other agents. I'm not saying it's something you shouldn't do. I think again, it just goes back to, you know, what are you on social media for and what is your clientele?
Perfect. Okay. Okay, so video ideas. This was something that you wanted to talk about because video right now is super big, and as you can see, Marie has been doing it for years on end, so she's kind of an expert. So yeah, give us your video ideas.
I don't know if I'm kind of an expert. We'll say that very lightly, because I think it's ever changing. And just as soon as I think like I'm doing video ideas before other people are, all of a sudden they're all doing it. And now I'm like, okay, what's the next thing I'm going to do? You know, so trying to kind of stay ahead of the curve with video, but video is not going anywhere. So I know there is a lot of pushback with people that I don't like video. I don't like how I look on video. I don't like how I sound. I don't want to do video. And I'm really going to encourage you to just get outside of your comfort zone with video, because it is huge. It's here to stay. It is where people are going to look for advice. They're looking for market updates. And if you don't do it, someone else is going to do it. So I highly suggest that you just, I know it's hard. I mean, it's very hard. And oh my gosh, I still never am going to probably be comfortable with it. But it's not a question of if you're comfortable, you just have to do it. And, you know, in terms of video, the other pushback I hear a lot is, well, it's so expensive. Like, you know, what do I need? I can't do professional video. I'm new in the business. And that's fine. Like, you don't have to do professional. You can use your phone. You can, there's so many things you can do. You can literally just use your phone. I bought a $30 little tripod thing during COVID that just had a little remote so that my camera wasn't holding it up anymore with my phone. And so you can get a $30 little stand, you can get a halo light, the ring light, there's so many things you can do and just use your phone. Yes, you can do professional ones, but I always encourage people when they're just starting, like, just do your own, just use your phone and just go with it. They don't have to be edited. They don't have to be long. I think people just want to see you and know you, and yeah, they're not going to go anywhere. But in terms of video ideas, you know, video builds trust. So, you know, I think that you can do so much with video. I think you can do, you know, about you video, you can do testimonial video, you can interview your clients' experience. You know, you can do video showcasing local businesses like we talked about, you know, be that community mayor, go to your favorite restaurant and just do a real quick, like, hey, I'm so excited they reopened. This is my favorite thing here. You guys have to try it, you know, or favorite coffee shop or local toy store, you know, whatever it is, you know, and you don't have to make it about you. You can turn it and make it about someone else. And for me, those are the easiest videos for me. Like, I don't love talking about myself. Like, I would much rather highlight somebody local, put the spotlight on somebody else. You know, so I think you can do a lot. The other thing that lately that I think is huge, and I'm trying to work on some ideas for this, is, you know, we're real estate brokers. We get asked the same questions over and over all the time. And especially during COVID, there's been people reaching out with all kinds of questions. So turn those questions into content. So if you keep hearing people asking you the same things, do a video about that. Like, even if it's just a minute, like, that's going to get traction, because those are questions that your clients and sphere and people, you know, are wanting answers to. So I think, you know, again, turning questions into content. You know, there's listing videos, of course, where you're not in them. You know, we have listing videos done, or I have listing videos done of all my listings professionally to showcase the listing. And then my stage 2 kind of marketing plan is a walkthrough video where I'll go through and do a walkthrough about the house. I do have those edited, but you don't have to. You can walk through with your phone and, you know, tell everyone 3 favorite features about this new listing of yours, whether it's the deck or the backyard or the views or the kitchen. So you can do as simple as that, or you can do a full walkthrough video that is edited. So, you know, that's a great thing to do on every new listing. You can, again, I think just showcasing businesses and showcasing, you know, do you have clients that own businesses? Do you have clients that or maybe they're doing something really cool that's buzzworthy that you want to showcase them. I started doing live Zoom interviews during quarantine because I didn't really know what else to do, and I couldn't go interview business owners like I kind of had done once a month for a couple of years. So, I would bring people on and make it kind of an interview style. And, it was actually really easy for me because I only asked the questions. The spotlight was on them. They had to answer them, and it really took a lot of that off of me, but I was providing value for people that followed me. I did one with a financial planner, like right when COVID started, with what do we do right now? Because people were panicking. I did one with a like kind of a counselor, and it was like, okay, obviously there's a lot of people in tough spots right now. Like, what's her advice for people? And then I just did one yesterday, actually, with a professional organizer, just about kind of the two different types of organizers we had during COVID. People either totally decluttered and simplified their lives, and other people like me who had no time. I have piles of crap everywhere. So we did a video about, like, whatever camp you're in, like, what do you do? Like, how do you get started organizing and decluttering? Or if you've already done that, now what do you do with all your stuff? And what's the next step? So, I mean, there's so many different types of video you can do. I know I'm missing a few things, but you're welcome to look at my pages too. I try to throw in kind of funny videos once a month-ish where they kind of do make fun of myself, but people like those. Makes people, I think, more feel like they're a little more relatable to you. So, I've done some pretty crazy things. And I mess up a lot when I'm doing regular videos. So bloopers, people love bloopers. I've incorporated my kiddos into a couple videos. I had my kids do a voice kind of over walkthrough of one of my listings during quarantine, and that took off pretty well. I try to find things that are kind of current, and if I can create content around current, maybe it's shows, or like, I didn't do anything with Tiger King because I wasn't watching it, but could have done a lot of things with Tiger King. But I did last year when Bird Box was kind of popular. I mean, I had never watched it, but you heard about it everywhere. So I did a walkthrough video, pulled a friend in to come in and do it with me. And we did a walkthrough video of one of my listings blindfolded, and, pretended we were in the middle of Bird Box. And that, my sellers were like, holy cow. I mean, they thought it was the coolest thing, and it was shared a bunch of times. And, people like things that are different. So I say, be creative. Don't take yourself too seriously. And people want to know that you're human just like they are. And so, mixing in those bloopers or those real authentic videos, people want to see them.
Awesome. Wow, those are a ton of great ideas. Hope everyone took notes. I took tons. Let's see. Okay, so you kind of touched on this, that you're always trying to think ahead of the curve to plan your videos and your content. So what do you think is kind of on the rise in social media? Like, what kind of marketing trends are you seeing?
I mean, you are all going to hate me for saying it, but it's video. It is like, I don't think it's going anywhere. I think video and polls and questions and the engagement piece is huge. So and again, I'm not telling you to do a video every day. To me, that's not realistic. I can't do that. I know some people do that. For me, that is not realistic. So if I can do a video a week that is me in it, again, doesn't have to put spotlight on me, but me in it, because they want to see you. You have to connect yourself to your brand. Then that's great for me. I also will have listing videos and other types of videos that are going out there. But in terms of me actually being in it, I mean, one a week is plenty in my mind for me. And then I'll mix in, and I repurpose too. I mean, like, I have a couple for Throwback Thursdays that I'm going to be trying to do, where it's like videos I did 2 years ago that were, making fun of myself. I just reposted that Bird Box one like a month ago as a Throwback Thursday. So you can repurpose things you have as well, because not everybody sees every post. So it might be the first time somebody is seeing that. If you repost it, share it to a story. I do think investing at some point in a bio video is a big thing. I did mine maybe 2 years ago. Well, have I had it 2 years? It took me about a year to do, to be honest. From the time I said I want to do it to getting it done, it was about a year. So it took a very long time, but it was, we filmed at a couple of my clients' homes. We filmed in the office. We filmed at my house, which that was big step for me, because again, I still try to keep a lot of personal. But, you know, having a bio video that I've been able to link in when I'm meeting new clients or referred somebody, that's huge. So I think at some point, maybe investing in a bio video. Testimonial videos have been huge for me. I do client events pretty frequently. I don't know what that's going to look like this year, but every fall I do a really big one that's I invite all past clients and anyone that's referred me. And it's kind of a 3-hour like wine tasting. They can come in, taste, they get to take a bottle of wine home with them. I have prizes, and I have a videographer there that films client testimonials. And if people do a client testimonial on video, they get extra entries into the prizes, and people are all about that. So, you know, every year I have a new client video that is done and created and filmed, and those have been really good for repurposing and using. I have those on my website. I have those on, you know, all social media platforms, YouTube. But, you know, I would recommend just future of our business is video, whether it's video of yourself, video of market updates, video of listings, video of being your community mayor, sharing things going on in the community. I think it's video.
Awesome. Oh, yes. Okay. So here in the Federal Way office, we have a green screen. How do you feel about those? Like green screen?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have one, but I think they're great if you have one, have access to one. I mean, if you guys have one agents can use, like I would definitely use that. My only experience with it, I did a kind of a real estate show thing for like a year and a half, and everything we filmed in studio was in front of a green screen, and then they would edit that. But I don't have one personally, and I don't actually use one on a daily basis, but I think it's awesome to have access to one for sure.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, let's see. I think this might be one of our last slides. Okay, so the top 3 pieces of advice you could give someone either just starting out or just trying to get their name out there on social.
Be authentic, be real. Don't try to be somebody you're not. I mean, like I said before, your vibe's gonna attract your tribe, and you want to work with people that like you for you and want to work with you. Those are going to be your better clients. They're going to give you better referrals. You have better relationships with them. So be authentic and be real. And whatever that looks like for you, just own it and do it. You know, I don't think there's a wrong or right way to start. I think you just need to start. And again, I know it's hard. I mean, there's definitely days where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just posted that. Are people going to like it? Or people going to not like that? I put kind of a really personal one out there a couple weeks ago that was just about being a mom during quarantine and trying to work and, you know, homeschool and, you know, feeling that guilt of like, they're seeing me now working all the time, which they're normally not here for that necessarily, or I'm gone. And so they're not trying to fight for my attention. And you know, I was worrying that they weren't learning anything, but then I realized my oldest made a comment to me about, you know, some of the benefits of being home, and he's learned about real estate, and now he knows that every time I say 750, it means 750,000 and not just 750. But it was kind of funny, and so I made a post about it and I threw it out there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Are people gonna like it? And I kept checking, and I had to remind myself, like, okay, I don't need to really worry about what people think. Some people, if they don't like it, they don't have to read it. You know, they don't want to watch it, they don't have to watch it. So, you know, I would say as hard as it is, like, and I still struggle with it, but try not to worry about everything you post. Some people are going to like a post and not like a post, and that's okay. That's why it's easy to just scroll or swipe or move on. But I would say just do it. And again, it doesn't have to spotlight you. You can take the you out of it. I mean, I'm trying to be a little bit more intentional when I have pendings and sold and try to sell better stories, because for a while I was just like, just sold, blah, 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 you know, house, price, address, whatever. Now I'm trying to make it more of a story that people can read and relate to and make it more about the client. And if there was a hero in the story, maybe the hero was the lender, maybe the hero was, you know, the love letter that won the house for these buyers, or, you know, find the hero of the story and try to write a little couple paragraph story about that, because that's what people want to read. They want to read real relatable stories. And so, you know, take your pendings, take your solds, and make them, you know, make them a celebration and a story. So that's been my goal a little bit more in the last couple months, is just trying to create more posts that are more storytelling versus just listed this, just sold this, you know. And not every post I can come up with something great, because maybe some of them don't have good stories, and that's fine. But the ones that do, you know, celebrate it, make it big. And, you know, another thing too that I just thought of is, if you're new in the business and like, well, I haven't sold 5 houses, you know, that's fine. Like, use other agents' things, ask for their permission to share some of their posts. You know, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. And maybe you've just sold 1 house, like repurpose that 1 house, like use different photos, use different video of it, tell a story. I mean, you can get multiple posts out of 1 just sold or 1 just listed. So you just have to kind of be creative there. What else? I would say advice. I think that's probably the best advice. Just do it. Just do it and be you.
Awesome. Love it. Okay, so you kind of touched on this a little bit, but organic followers. So, I mean, of course, that's like very geared towards Instagram, but really could go both ways. How do you gain more organic followers / friends?
You know, I think it's just trying to build. I think there's a couple ways. I think it kind of, one goes back to listening. Like, if you're listening and commenting on people, that could build more followers, because if they're not already following you and you're messaging them and trying to build relationships with them, then they'll start following you. Contests are huge, because if you're asking people to share your page or tag people, the people that are being tagged or the people that are sharing and people see it, they're going to probably start following you as well. And that goes for Instagram and for Facebook. And then, you know, the question answer things are big. And, you know, again, I think it's just being you. For me, I have found that showcasing local businesses, I know I've said it a few times, but that's been really big too, because if that business shares your post, which a lot of them will, then you're getting your face out in front of a lot of people that are likely in your community and that probably have heard of you or know you or have seen your name, and then they're more likely to follow you. That goes back to one thing I haven't talked about, which I'm going to just throw out there real quick, groups. So Facebook, you have the ability to start a group. Whatever group you'd want to start, you can start. It has been huge for me the last 3 months. My listing that I'm listing tomorrow, one of them is actually because I started a group on Facebook. And I started a group just for my local town that I live in that was support local. And my goal of that group was to keep the community updated on what local businesses were doing during quarantine, and were they available for pickup? Were they, you know, closed? What were their hours? What were they offering? And you know, it was great because I got to share and showcase all of these businesses. And I did this as my personal self. I never posted anything business about that on this page. I didn't tie it into my business page. I really wanted it to be solely personal, with no business intentions of it. I really just wanted to help businesses. And, you know, that has been huge. So if you are passionate about anything, maybe it's painting, maybe it's running, maybe it's anything. I mean, start a group, because the people in your group that join that group, they're going to be like-minded, and you better believe you're going to get referrals out of that. And, you know, it doesn't have to be a big group. The group I started for local businesses, I mean, within a week, I had 1,200 people in that group. And so obviously I'm not going to be able to connect with all those people on a personal level, but, you know, as quarantines evolves, I've kind of shifted a little bit of what we're doing in that group. I did start a group with my kids where we were doing a weekly art contest. We did it for 12 weeks during this whole, I started a week after we were on lockdown, and we did it once a week. Winning kiddo would get a $20 gift card to our local toy shop, and winning parent got a bottle of wine. And we had a theme every week, and kids would just create an art project and submit it. And I think the group had 120 people, but we ended it last week, and I'm still being thanked by tons of local parents for doing that, because it kept their kids distracted. And you know, I didn't know where that was going to go when I started it, but create a group. It really, really is helpful, and gets your name out there, gets your face out there. And again, you connect with people that are like-minded, that are like you.
Sorry, I'm just taking notes. Let's see. Oh, we can skip over this. You already over that. Okay. So this was a big thing. So what are you doing to get people to trust you on social media?
I think it just goes back to being real. I mean, you have to be you have to be real. Share what you're passionate about, share your hobbies, share what you like. Don't try to talk about or share things that you are not passionate about, because people will see right through that. So I would say it's just about being you. Also mixing in just being a knowledge broker, and testimonials. Like if you can get some clients to give you great testimonials, like share the heck out of those. Video testimonials are huge. I have a buyer, a seller right now that, I mean, he keeps messaging me weekly about how great everything went. And he was like, I'll do a video testimonial for you. So that's on my list to get that filmed, because even if that's 30 seconds or a minute, like that can go everywhere. So video testimonials, written testimonials, not be a knowledge broker, but just, again, just be you, be authentic. I think the more you can do and do good for others too, I think people will see that and will really value that. And that's what's been huge for me during this quarantine, just with that group and those contests that I've done with, tagging local businesses and giving back. And, people like that stuff. And I love that stuff. So that's a huge passion of mine, which is why I do it. So maybe that's not your passion, but find something that you're passionate about and build on that. And people will see that. And if they have any, liking of that same passion, like they will start to trust you. You will build rapport through social media. And, if they need a real estate agent at some point, hopefully you're that person they think of because of that trust you've built with them through doing good things.
So let's see. Okay, so that kind of concludes our question and answer portion. I've linked all of Marie's different social media platforms right here for you guys. I would jot those down. She's a great person to follow if you're just kind of looking for what you should be posting or, that kind of thing. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Give me 1 second.
And I'm happy to answer questions too off of this. If you guys want to reach out, email me. My email, I don't know if it was it on there? My email was on there?
No, but everyone has access to it because we're all in a shared directory. So if you guys just look up Marie Boatsman, she'll pop up there in your email directory.
Okay. But yeah, happy to answer any questions, help you with any advice you need. Again, I'm definitely not an expert at this, but I've been doing it a long time. And, I really do account a lot of my referral and repeat business to social media. And, most of my business, again, all sphere and referral based, but the couple randoms that I have gotten have been, have been off of social media.
Perfect. Okay, you guys, so we're going to open it up for questions for Marie. So go ahead and start writing them in the chat and I will ask them for you. All right, so we have a question from Roxanne and Tammy here. It says, how much business can you quantify from social media?
Oh, that's a tough question. So I probably close around 50 transactions a year, give or take a couple. And I would say one of those a year is not a past client or referral, but the referrals that I get, typically they go to social media before they reach out to me. So they're seeing me and knowing me a little bit on social media before they're ever reaching out. So I really think it almost accounts for, probably to some degree, I mean, probably 75% to be honest, because even retaining past clients in Sphere, like I'm doing other things besides social media, but they are staying connected with me on social media. So, every person out there knows a handful of real estate agents for the most part. So, if I'm not staying in front of them, somebody else will. So I do tend to think that, they are seeing and they are watching, and, it is keeping me top of mind through that. So, if it's not a brand new client that's finding me off of social media, I think even for fast clients and referrals, like That's where they're looking first. So I think for me, it's a huge chunk of my business, to be honest. Huge.
Let's see. How many hours do you spend a week on social media?
Well, it's a little skewed lately, probably way too much. I would say, in terms of posting and my personal like content posting, it has probably been like half an hour to 45 minutes a day at least. And that's a lot for me. Like I have a hard time finding that time. I typically get up at 5:15 and I will kind of get my coffee and start trying to get those posts going early, or the night before, try to schedule something for the next day. But, it does take some time. Like it takes time to craft like a good post, and, stories are easy. You can just snap something from, an inspection or photos and video appointment or walkthrough, whatever it is, that's easy. But the actual post, I do think spending a little time on them is important. So I would say I'm probably 30, 45 minutes a day, sometimes an hour. And then I do spend, another part of my morning is that I get on there and I see whose birthdays are popping up for the day, and I message them either through social platform or on the side. If it's a past client of mine, like I will make myself a note if I have time that day to drop something off on their door. Like I just dropped off a bottle of wine to a past client a couple days ago because Facebook told me it was her birthday and I did not know that. But she took a picture of it, posted on social media, thanked me, said it made her day. It was totally out of the blue, but I'm really big at pop buys and like kind of surprise and delights. So I will use social media to find little things that trigger a thought for me to like, okay, that family just had a rough day with their kids. I'm going to drop off some Melissa and Doug craft packs tomorrow at their house, so constantly trying to kind of use social media to see what my clients in Sphere are needing or doing, or do they need an extra touch this month and a little surprise. Maybe I drop off a coffee gift card or send them a Starbucks e-card, as to make their day. So, in that regard, I'm probably spending an extra hour, honestly, a day on it, just trying to find things that I can do for others or interact with others in private messages or on post.
Okay, and I think we've got one last question. Do you have a team or a TC?
I'm on our partnership plan, which I don't know if that's something up there. So we have a kind of a shared transaction coordinator, but just kind of doing the basic stuff. I have one person that has worked for me for 6 years, and he is licensed, but he does not do his own business. So he does a lot of behind the scenes stuff for me. Like today, he's setting up a gazillion inspections. This week, he's going to beat a couple inspections for me until I can get there at the end for clients. He does help me with video stuff. So really, he's the only person I have. I don't have any buyer's agents. Again, my business is pretty much all Sphere and referral based. So I have always had a hard time with the idea of creating a team because I do feel like people are using me to work with me. And so I try to do as much with my clients as I can to maintain that relationship. But I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I mean, trust me, at this point, I probably need a team, but I mentally can't wrap my head around taking that step.
Okay, well, that is all of our questions. Thank you so much, Marie, for your time today. And I'm sure all of us might be reaching out to you for future advice, but thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you got something out of it.
Oh, I think we all did.